Hey, welcome back. So today this is going to be another part of my cooking series. I am cooking red beans and rice. So I know when I did the lima beans, I actually kind of messed them up, but I decided to post the video anyways because it'll probably be a while before I ever make them again. But I did these just a little bit different. So with the lima beans, I didn't soak them or anything like that, and I did for the red beans. So actually I'm gonna move y'all towards me so y'all can see. I ignore the camera strap. I soaked these overnight, and I'm gonna sift through them. I should have done that before I soaked them, but that's okay. Like for instance, this right here, see that? That's bad. That's a bad bean. So I'm gonna sift through these. I'm gonna drain them. I have my strainer right here. Ignore the dirty dishes. I have my strainer right here. I'm gonna dump these and then sift through them. And I'm going to try to put y'all at an angle where y'all can see, but I'm not sure how much you'll actually be able to see. Let me move my napkins. Yeah, y'all can kind of see that. Okay, so I know there's a lot of people that don't soak their beans. Like, I'm pretty sure my mama doesn't soak hers. Like, the more I think about it, I really don't think she does. I think she just takes them out the bag, sifts through them, and then just starts cooking them. But, when you first pour them in water, you're supposed to sift through them because, wow. Sorry, I just went on a bike ride, and my brain, I'm still trying to whew. Anyways, like I was saying, it's best to sift through them when you first put them in water, because you'll have ones that'll float and you're supposed to take those out. Those are bad. And then you'll also be able to see the blemishes, and like some of them will have mold on them, like little black dots and stuff, so you want to sift through that and take those out as well. But I'm going to sift through them right now. Kind of try to check and make sure I don't see any. They say if you're gonna do it when you're like sifting through, that you should also take out broken pieces and halved pieces, that those are bad as well. Why necessarily, I really don't know. But like for instance, this bean is bad. I don't even know if y'all can see that really good, but LOL. This bean, there you go. It's got little dots all over it. It's really not hard if you don't do it the way I'm doing right now. It's really not hard to be able to, when you first take them out the package and put them in water, and you just stir them around, or you don't even have to put them in water to sift through them. You just stir them around. You can see clearly broken or kind of nasty looking ones. So I'm going to fill this pot back up with water. Okay, I'm about to show you all this. So I sift around and kind of stirred them as I filled this up. I don't know if y'all can see from this angle, but like this bean right here, see how it's floating? That's no good. You're supposed to take that out. This one's floating. Okay. That's good. So I'm gonna bring y'all over here so y'all can kind of watch me. I'm gonna move that out of the way. I'm gonna wipe the bottom of my pot off because it's got water all over it. Alright. So I'm gonna put this on medium high and let those sit there. So now I'm gonna bring y'all back over to, so that's on, it's on like 5. So I'm gonna bring y'all back over here and I'm gonna tell y'all what I put in my red beans and rice. The front screen of this is so dark. If y'all just see me kind of staring a lot, because I can't tell if y'all can see me or not. Okay, so this is the sausage I use. This is Conecuh Sausage. This is the original hickory smoked. Conecuh, that's what they call it. I don't know, that's how I pronounce it. But I'm not going to use this whole entire thing. I'll show y'all kind of how much I use. It all depends on you. This is also a preference of what type. You can use spicy, you can use mild, whatever brand you want. But to me, this is the best brand of sausage for anything, whether you're frying, cooking, whatever you're doing with it. This is my favorite. Of course, besides like homemade deer sausage or something, but this is my favorite store-bought. Preference is to how much you want to use. Are you a big meat person, or you want more beans, or do you want it kind of portioned out where you have as many beans as you do sausage in each bite, or what? I don't know. That's up to you, but I'll kind of show y'all how I cut these and how much I use. But I don't have a whole bell pepper. If I did, I'd put the whole thing in there, but all I do is I have a half of a green bell pepper, and I've got some onion already kind of chopped up, but I've got another onion I'm gonna use this too. So I'm gonna use half an onion, half a bell pepper, which if I had a whole, I might possibly have used a whole. I don't know. Like I said, I eyeball things to kind of how many beans I have is how much stuff I'm gonna put in it. But I've also got celery here, so I'm gonna chop celery up and stick that in there as well. I forgot I had celery with my lima beans. I would probably put that in there too. I love putting celery in anything. Here's all the bad beans I took out. I'm gonna dump those in the trash. Alright, so I'm gonna start with the bell pepper and onion because I'm gonna stick my bell pepper and onion and saute it down in a skillet. That'll be my next step after chopping it up. And then I'll add, once that's kind of somewhat sauteed, I'll add my sausage in and cook that. And any drippings or anything, I scrape off the bottom and put in the red beans for flavor. But I'm also gonna add the celery in there as well. I forgot I had that. I don't know how y'all cut up bell pepper, but I take out the veins in the middle and all the seeds. I don't cook with the seeds. That makes it more spicy, but growing up we never cooked with seeds, so I don't even know if that's a thing, but if it is, you know, like I said, it's preference. But I cut it in strips. So this is like the size strips, like the size of my finger kind of, and then I'm gonna cut them, dice them into little pieces. Cannot talk today. Actually, I'm gonna cut these smaller than that. Yeah, here you go. I'm gonna cut them in pieces like this. So what I showed you just now, do that in half, because I want little dice pieces. Okay, so I'm gonna cut this all up. I do the same thing with my onion, little pieces like that, and then I'm gonna cut it like this and dice it up into little bitty pieces like this. And same thing with the celery, but I'm gonna cut you off so I don't run out of time to finish the whole thing. But I'm gonna turn you all off and then I'll turn you back on once everything's cut up on my board. Okay. Okay, I'm back. I've got everything chopped up. Got my celery, my onion, my bell pepper, and my sausage. So I use probably 1 whole stalk of celery, and I'm talking about like the really long big ones. And the way I cut those, I should have waited and showed y'all, but to get the good little pieces like this of the celery, so let's just pretend like this is my celery stalk and it's curved, right? So I kind of turn it to where that curve is flat and I cut, and I literally just take my knife and I just run it straight up, and I make tiny strips going long ways with it, so going with it. So I'll cut a strip, however wide it is, however many strips I get out of it. And then I turn it back sideways, horizontal, and I chop it up, and that gives me these perfect little pieces of celery. I know that might sound silly, but it took me a couple tries to figure out how in the world to chop celery up, because I was just taking the stalk, turning it like this, and just chopping it, and then I have to go back and chop the little bitty pieces I chopped, and it was just too much. This way you get strips, and then from your strips you just get tiny little pieces. So I ended up using probably 1 whole stalk of celery, like 1 little strip or whatever you want to call it, and then I used a whole half of an onion, and then I used that whole half of a bell pepper. And then this is how much, I know I showed y'all before I used it, this is how much of the sausage I used. So this is a pound. Yeah, this is a pound. So I used somewhere around a half a pound, maybe just a little bit over a half a pound. But that's how much of the sausage I use. But this is what my board looks like. Got my sausage and all of that right there. I actually cut a piece of the sausage up for my breakfast. Well, really, it's definitely lunchtime, but kind of skipped breakfast and went on my bike ride, so I'm kind of hungry. And that sausage smelled so good, so I've got some frying right here. That's how my mama fries sausage. She cuts it, slices it open like that, and they're connected. So that's like, she leaves this, well, y'all can't see, she leaves the skin on like that, instead of cooking it like this. So that way she slices it open and the inside gets cooked, and it doesn't take long at all. Sorry, that's really hot. So this has yet to really come to a boil, so I keep making sure I stir it. But while I'm waiting on my sausage to saute the rest, I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna use, let me move that out of the way. So I've got black pepper, salt. This is sea salt, but I already used all that and I've filled it up with Morton's regular salt, just in case y'all are wondering. I'm gonna put some garlic powder and just a little bit of onion powder, since I've got like a whole half of onion chopped up. And I'm gonna add parsley flakes. I'm sure you can see that. Parsley flakes and a little bit of this to give it a little spice, some Creole, Tony's Creole seasoning. And I'm gonna add 2 bay leaves because these are pretty small. So I'm gonna add 2 bay leaves to it. I think that's it. I have chives, but I'm not gonna add that in there. So if y'all want to screenshot that, if I can be still long enough. So I've got black pepper, salt, garlic powder, onion powder, parsley, Creole seasoning, and bay leaves. So I'm about to add all of those seasonings in here. And then of course y'all saw this, my sausage. And if y'all need to screenshot this, I don't even know if I left it on there long enough. There's that. Can screenshot that. But yeah, that's my celery, onion, bell pepper, and then sausage. And I'm gonna ignore my trash, I need to take that out. I'm gonna take all of my vegetables right here. I'm gonna take those and let those saute down first because the onion stuff's gonna take a little bit longer, and then I'll add my sausage in after that gets sauteed down. Y'all don't do this. I don't have a fork available. Okay. Alright, so back to this. I'm gonna go ahead and add my pepper. Always end up adding more later, but let's see. Is that better? I don't know. Okay, now I'm gonna do salt. Sorry if the camera's shaking. Y'all, I should have learned my lesson last time. I should have learned to open all of this before I try to film with one hand. I knew better. Okay, here we go. Alright. Garlic powder. Parsley. A little bit of onion powder. Tony's. Try not to make the camera shake. Okay. And then, okay, I didn't mean to pour all this out. That's a pretty good one. Stick that in there. And this one. I'm going to stir that all up since it's kind of coming to a boil. Alright. Let me find a fork. I don't even think I have one in here. Nope. I forgot to start the dishwasher. Yeah, this is from like 2 or 3 days. Anyways, I already put that in there. Well, I've got dishes to add to it, if I even have room. Oh well. Be back once I move my sausage. Alright, so here we are. I've sauteed this all down. I don't know if y'all can even really tell. But yeah, sauteed all that down. It's not completely, like, if you want to just eat this cooked, and how you can tell is your onions should be completely translucent. But, like that one's translucent, but I'm not necessarily worried about it because it's about to go in here and cook a little bit longer. So, now I'm going to add all of this sausage in. This cooking board is so heavy with one hand. Okay. Ow, ow, ow. Ow. Y'all saw it here first. Just burned my hand. I'm gonna move this out of the way. Okay. This is probably so loud. I got the dishwasher going and everything else. Okay, so if y'all are following me, like watching this and cooking at the same time, your vegetables are not going to have that brown tint to them. Mine do, because I fried that sausage first and I just used that grease. I didn't put any oil or anything. I just used what was already in there from frying that sausage, and then I added my vegetables. So if you want to copy me, you could do that as well, or you can just add just a little bit of either olive oil or vegetable oil, but just a little bit, because your vegetables already have a natural like water inside of them. I know water is not the word, but as well, I say that, okay, I'm using a non-stick skillet. If you're using like an iron skillet, then yes, absolutely put some little bit of vegetable oil or something in there. But like this, for instance, your sausage, when I fry sausage, I put nothing in my non-stick skillet. Well, even my cast iron skillets, I don't put any oil in there when I fry my sausage, because sausage and ground beef, both of them, they have so much natural just fat or oil in them that you don't really need to add anymore. That's just me personally. I'm not saying you shouldn't or you should or whatever, but that's just how I do it. And by the way, I have this skillet set right up next to 5, just between 5 and 5.5, but closer to 5 right there. And I'm using that back burner, so it's not as hot as that one is. And by the way, this whole time I've been coming over here and making sure I'm stirring my beans, because they're getting softer and softer since I soaked them. They're cooking a lot quicker than like the lima beans ones did. Which I messed the lima beans up because I had them on high the entire time. That is not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to have them on like a medium, maybe a medium high. And you're supposed to simmer them. But Nathan's mom helped me with that because I messed the lima beans up. So she watched it and she was like, hey, this is how you're supposed to do them. I'm like, oh, wow. That helps me out a lot, because lima beans are the one things that I can cook, but it's not like, wow, this is so good. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I made a video of cooking homemade lima beans. Y'all should go back and watch it. There you go, there's the lighting. This is the angle I should have been at. So my vegetables probably took 10 minutes to cook. I'm gonna roughly guesstimate, I would say 10 minutes to simmer down. And like I said, they weren't all the way cooked, but then I just added my sausage. And I've been doing that for 5 minutes. Well, maybe not fully 5 minutes, but I'm looking at the camera. It says 5 minutes, so I'm assuming we're at somewhere around 4 minutes. But it doesn't take long. If y'all can tell, it's pretty much done. I wish I could smell this. It smells so good. Ooh, I feel it. Can't see it on my finger yet, on my knuckle, but I feel it. I burned it. By the way, going back and forth from water to oil on a hot skillet is not a good idea. I'm doing it because this is a wooden spoon. It really, if y'all can tell, like there's no water drippage or anything, but be careful with that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put that off. I'm going to let that sit for a second while I set y'all up to where y'all can see me dump this in there. I'm going to use this rice. go up here. There we go. Try not to let it splash. Are y'all still on there? Yeah, okay. Because like I said, if that water splashes in here, it can cause a fire. It'll definitely cause smoke for sure. Sorry, I jumped. That scared me. Y'all cannot see what I'm doing. So, I'm gonna turn, I'm scraping that entire pan, making sure this is non-stick skillet, so it pretty much came all out, but you make sure you get all of the drippings and everything. And some of it fell, I'm gonna pick that up. So now I'm going to stir all of that in, and I do put the oil in here, like the sausage oil and stuff. Like I said, you want, if you kind of burned, if it's stuck on there just a little bit, any of it, even if it's like black burnt looking stuff, stick it in here because flavor, that's where all your flavor is, and it will help. I've got to turn this on, I don't know if it's going to be loud, but I don't know if y'all can see in the pot, but this is what we're looking at. Very pretty, lots of greens and everything in there. My bell peppers, I did not chop up, like right there. Well, I say right there, I just had one. I did not chop the bell peppers up good enough. To me, for me personally, I would have done a lot smaller. But that's okay. It's still gonna taste good. If y'all wanna know what goes good with red beans and rice, what I've had in the past, well, what I'll always do with red beans and rice is cornbread. That's the #1 side that we love, cornbread. Now, I'm not a big fan of the old school bitter cornbread, very bitter, kind of almost sour. I'm not a fan of that. If I ever buy cornbread from the store instead of making it from scratch, I always get Jiffy cornbread. I don't know if they have different flavors or anything in Jiffy, but I always get the Jiffy, y'all are sad. I always get the Jiffy, just original, like it's a blue box if I'm not mistaken, and I get that and I just use directions, like it's like 1 egg and a cup of milk or something like that, and you stir it up and you're good to go. But if y'all want to know how to make homemade cornbread, I'm actually going to video it after I get done with this video. I'm going to make regular cornbread. Now, like I said, don't like the bitter, so I add a cup of sugar into mine, or like a cup and 1/4 a cup or something like that, because I added a cup last time and it was still a little bitter, so I'm going to add just a little more than a cup. But anyways, I like the sweet cornbread, so, and I'm not talking like a sweet roll, no, just like a sweeter, you know, bread has that just natural taste to it. Well, I just sweeten it up just a little bit. It doesn't taste like cake or anything crazy. But I'm also going to make jalapeno cornbread. I've never made it before, but I'm super excited. It's basically the same thing, you just add jalapenos in it. So I'm going to make both of those from scratch. So I'm going to make 2 loaves of cornbread. I have 2 loaf pans, but I would much rather use my cake pans to make it. That way it's round, flat, and I can cut it in like pie shapes and triangles. But I'm gonna make both of those. So those are, cornbread's one of the top #1s. If you're from the South, you know, that goes with red beans and rice. Another thing that I've had, like my mama will do, is a big salad. Now, I don't have anything here to make a salad to show y'all, but eventually I'll come around and show y'all how I do a salad. I guess if we do like what you would call like at a restaurant, like a house salad, but we have everything in there from a whole head of lettuce. You break that up, you wash it, you just break it up with your hands, put that in a bowl. You've got carrots, we shred them, we get the real carrots, they're all real, but you get the whole long carrots, and you just take a potato peeler and you just shred it on there, or a grater would be a lot easier, and you just shred your carrots in there, and then celery, like I showed y'all how I chopped celery up. I add celery in there. My mama adds purple onion because that's my papa's favorite. I'm not a big fan of purple onion. I don't add that in there, but it's really pretty and colorful. So that's purple onion, a head of lettuce, celery, carrots, and cucumbers. Number one, my favorite. I can chop a cucumber up and eat it. Oh my gosh, I love a cucumber. But we peel the cucumbers. We don't leave the peel on. I know that's better for you to leave the peel on, but we peel it off with a potato peeler, peel it off, and then chop it up into just little circles, or even half circles after that. But like I said, when I get around to go grocery shopping and we do a salad, I'll video it and show you all how I do a salad. It's one of my very favorites. I can eat it just like that with nothing on it, or I can, ranch is the number one. We only buy Hidden Valley Ranch is the only kind that we get. That's my personal favorite. And my papa always added salt and pepper to his salad. I don't personally do that, but you could. And you could also add tomatoes. I typically don't, because we end up picking around them. I've got to be in a really, a good mood or a certain mood to want tomatoes in my salad, me personally. But if I were going to do tomatoes, you could do the little ripe cherry tomatoes. I don't personally like those unless you cut them in half, because you're trying to stab it with your fork and everything else. But another option, if you don't have cherry tomatoes, you could do like a regular like vine ripened tomato, whatever they call them, like a whole big tomato, and you could chop it up into little squares and add that on top of your salad too. If you don't have access to the cherry tomatoes, same thing, but just as good. I'm trying to think. I think that's all that I put in a salad. Oh, you can always add bell pepper, or even sweet peppers, like a sweet banana pepper, like the yellow ones. I can eat those whole too. Those are so good. But if we were going to add a bell pepper, it'd be green bell pepper, and we just chop it up into little squares where you can stab it with your fork and eat it. That's good too. Just raw like that, just chop it up, wash it off, chop it up, and add it to your salad. I think Mama puts bell pepper in hers. I'm trying to think. Another side, I think that's the only two sides that me personally goes with red beans and rice, besides rice. Other than that, I really need to stir this. Other than that, like lima beans or navy beans, or even butter beans, those 3 types of beans. If I said the same thing, I don't know, but we got butter beans, speckled butter beans, navy beans, lima beans, all that. To me, the number one thing, besides like a cornbread or a roll, a crescent roll or something, which I can make homemade crescent rolls. I'll have to show y'all how I do that too. That's really fun, but it's like an all-day process because it takes like 2 hours to rise the dough and stuff. But something I love, that my family loves and Nathan's family loves too, are beets. I think I said this when I was making the lima beans, we just didn't have them here, but pickled beets, sliced pickled beets, that, oh my gosh, I love that. And as a kid, if you have children or you babysit or whatever, kids love it because the beets turn your beans and rice pink, and I thought that was so cool as a kid. But anyways, that would be my number one side to add to a lima bean. But I don't know anything else like a vegetable, me personally, that would go good with beans besides like a salad or beets or cornbread. That's not a vegetable, but side wise. But yeah, so I'm gonna finish stirring this and then I'll get back with y'all. I'm pretty much done. I just have to wait for it to simmer. I have to constantly stir it, keep stirring it, because if not, it will stick to the bottom and it will burn, and within like a minute it will burn. So make sure you're constantly stirring that. Now I use wooden spoons. I don't know if y'all noticed. I try not to use plastic spoons. I just like the aesthetic look of, if I even said that right, the aesthetic look of wood in the house. If y'all can't tell, I'm a wooden chopping board and everything else. But not only that, we have nonstick pans and like I was saying, we have nonstick pans and plastic scrapes those. So I use wooden. Make sure you stir it, and then later on you can always add salt and pepper to taste. But my camera cut me off, which means I have a couple seconds. I'm gonna go. I'll be back later, probably in a couple hours, but whenever this is done, I'll show you all the final product. Alright, so I'm all done with the red beans and rice. This is the end result. I'm gonna kind of step out here so y'all can really see it in all of its glory. Let's see if I can't get a spoon or something. Wow, I have no silverware. Okay. Alright. There it is. Red beans and rice. I'll show y'all what the pot looks like. It's still really liquidy. When it got close to the end, it kind of stuck. It didn't burn, but it stuck a little bit, so I added water, but I added a little too much, but that's okay. Let's see, let me get the real spoon. So that's what it looks like in here. It's a little runny, but it's only 3:30. I started this around 1:30 to 2 o'clock, somewhere in there. I don't know. And I just took it off. But there it is. Bowl of red beans and rice. So I hope y'all enjoyed this. I will see y'all next time.